The village of Amarpur rested between two hills, where the morning mist clung to the earth like a blessing, and the river moved so quietly you could hear your own thoughts. It was a place where life moved slowly, where people grew crops, raised children, and carried dreams. They whispered only to the wind. In a modest house near the temple lived a young man named Vikram. He was 25 tall and lean, with hands rough from work and eyes that carried a quiet fire. He worked in the fields with his aging father, turning soil, planting seeds, harvesting grain. The same cycle his family had followed for generations, but Vikram had a dream. He wanted to start something of his own, a small workshop where he could repair bicycles and motorcycles. He had always been good with his hands, good with machines. While other boys played cricket, he sat in the shade, taking apart old engines, understanding how things worked, how broken pieces could be made whole again. He had saved money for 2 years. Every rupee he could spare, he hid in a small tin box beneath his bed. He calculated costs, imagined the location dreamed of, the day he would open his own shop. And because his heart was full of excitement, because he was young and hopeful, he did what many young dreamers do. He told everyone. It started at the tea stall one morning. Vikram sat with a group of men from the village, sipping chai, and the conversation turned to work. "What about you, Vikram?" someone asked. "Will you spend your whole life in the fields?" Vikram smiled, unable to contain himself. "Actually, I am planning to open a repair shop. Motorcycles, bicycles, I have been saving. Maybe in 6 months?" The men nodded, some smiled. Some said nothing. "That is good," one of them said. "But it is risky. What if it does not work?" "It will," Vikram said confidently. "I have thought it through." Another man chuckled. "Everyone thinks that at the beginning." Vikram brushed it off. But the seed of doubt had been planted over the next few weeks. Vikram told more people, his cousins, his neighbors, the shopkeeper, even the priest at the temple. Each time he felt a surge of pride. Saying it out loud made it feel real, made it feel closer. But something strange began to happen. Every person he told had an opinion. "A repair shop in this village, who will come? You should open a grocery store instead. Safer. Do you even have enough money? These things cost more than you think. What does your father say? Does he approve? My nephew tried something similar. He failed." At first, Vikram defended his plan. He explained his reasoning, his research, his savings. But each conversation left him a little more tired, a little more uncertain. Doubts began to creep in, not from within, but from without. Doubts that were not his, but that settled into his mind, like dust on a shelf. Weeks turned into months. Vikram still had the money. He still had the dream, but he had not taken a single step forward. Every time he thought about looking for a location, he remembered someone's warning. Every time he imagined opening the shop, he heard someone's doubt. The excitement that once burned bright had dimmed to a flicker. One evening, his mother noticed him sitting quietly on the doorstep, staring at nothing. "What is wrong, Beta?" she asked gently. "I do not know, Ma. He said I wanted to open the shop. But now I am not sure. Maybe people are right. Maybe it is too risky." His mother sat beside him, her sari draped over her head, her face lined with years of quiet wisdom. "Vikram," she said softly, "when did you start listening to everyone else more than yourself?" He looked at her surprised. "You had this dream long before you told anyone." It was clear then. What changed? "I just thought people would support me," he said. "But all they do is point out problems." His mother nodded. "That is what people do." Beta, not because they are cruel, but because they see the world through their own fears. And when you share your dreams too early, you invite their fears into your heart. That night, Vikram could not sleep. He lay awake thinking about all the people he had told, thinking about how every conversation had chipped away at his confidence. He realized something painful. He had given away his power by sharing his plan with everyone. He had opened it up to judgment, to doubt, to opinions he never asked for. He had let other people's fears become his own. The next morning, he decided to visit the one person in the village who had built something from nothing. An old man named Harish, who ran a small pottery business on the outskirts of Amarpur. Harish was in his 60s, with hands stained with clay and a face that carried the calm of someone who had walked through fire and come out whole. His pottery was simple but beautiful, sold in markets across 3 villages. Vikram found him at his wheel, shaping a pot with steady hands. Harish, Uncle Vikram said, "Can I ask you something?" Harish did not look up, but he nodded. "When you started this, did you tell people? Did you ask for their opinions?" Harish smiled faintly. The wheel kept turning. "I told no one," he said quietly. "Not until the first pot was sold." "Why?" Vikram asked. Harish finally looked up, his eyes deep and knowing. "Because dreams are like seeds, Vikram. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to show people. You do not let everyone come and touch it, question it, pull at it. You cover it with soil. You water it in silence. You protect it. And only when it breaks through the ground, when it is strong enough to withstand the wind, only then do you let the world see it." Vikram felt something shift inside him. "People will always have opinions," Harish continued. "They will tell you what they think, what they fear, what they believe. But your dream is not theirs to carry. It is yours. And if you share it too soon, you give them the power to water it with doubt instead of faith." He returned to his wheel. "Strong people keep their plans to themselves," Harish said, "not because they are secretive, but because they understand that silence is protection, that focus is sacred, that some things must be built in private before they can stand in public." Vikram walked home slowly, Harish's words echoing in his mind. That night he made a decision. He would stop talking about his plan. He would stop seeking validation, stop explaining himself, stop inviting opinions. He would move in silence. The next week he quietly began looking for a location. He spoke to a landlord. He negotiated rent. He made a list of tools he needed. He did not tell anyone. When his cousins asked what he was up to, he smiled and said, "Just working." When neighbors asked about the repair shop, he said, "Still thinking about it." He let them think he had given up. And in that space of silence, something powerful happened. His focus returned. His clarity returned. Without the noise of other people's doubts, his own voice became loud again. He remembered why he wanted this. He remembered the vision that had once burned so bright. 3 months later, Vikram opened his shop. It was small, just a single room with a tin roof, a few tools, and a hand-painted sign that read, "Vikram Repair Works." He did not announce it. He did not invite the whole village. He simply opened the door and waited. The first customer came the next day, then another, then another. Within weeks, word spread naturally. People came because the work was good, because Vikram was honest, because he fixed things others could not. And when people asked, "Why did you not tell us you were opening?" he smiled and said, "I wanted to build it first." Months passed. The shop grew. Vikram hired a young boy to help him. He expanded his tools. He started repairing tractors and water pumps. The dream he had once spoken about so freely had become real, not because he talked about it, but because he protected it. One day, a young man came to the shop. He looked nervous, hesitant. Vikram Bhai, he said, I want to start something too, a small business. But everyone I tell says I will fail. What should I do? Vikram set down his wrench and looked at the young man. Stop telling them, he said. The young man blinked. What? Your plan is not their plan. Vikram said, their doubts are not your doubts. If you keep sharing your seed with everyone, they will trample it before it grows. Build it first. Prove it first. Let your results speak louder than your intentions. The young man nodded slowly. Vikram saw himself in that boy. Eager, hopeful, vulnerable, strong people. Vikram said gently, move in silence. Not because they are hiding, but because they know that focus is power, that privacy is protection, that some things are too precious to be exposed before they are ready. Vikram never became famous. He never built an empire, but he built something real, something lasting, something that started as a whisper in his heart and became a solid foundation beneath his feet. And this is what he would tell you now, if you walked into his shop and asked for advice. Keep your plans to yourself, not forever, not out of fear, but until they are strong enough to withstand the world. Because every time you share a dream too early, you invite doubt, distraction, and the weight of other people's fears, and those things are heavy enough to kill what has not yet learned to stand strong. People understand this. They do not announce. They do not explain. They do not seek permission or validation. They move quietly, deliberately, with a focus that cannot be shaken by opinions. They protect their vision, the way a mother protects a newborn, fiercely, privately, until it is ready to face the world on its own. So if you have a dream, guard it, water it in silence.